Aboy Manila, this is Ishadel from ManilaShaker.com. Many budget phones have been unveiled in recent months, and Nokia wants to catch up to these budget phones using a reliable and long-term device. And before the end of this year, here is another budget phone for all of you, the Nokia 2.4. So what do you get at its price? Let's find out here in our review. Starting with the build, we know that Nokia phones are known to be solid, well-made phones, but that is another story as we are now in the era of smartphone. Still, they managed to make a smartphone with a promising, classy, and reliable build. The back has a matte finish that will not pick up fingerprint smudges. Holding the phone, it has a pretty good grip on, thanks to the parallel line texture, and the dual camera module is almost flat on the back, and there's the fingerprint scanner below. And next to it is the embedded Nokia branding. It feels solid and sturdy. It doesn't have that tiny cracking sound when giving a push, and that is a standout from the rest of the budget phones within the price range. Around the frame, we got a different style of button placements. The power and volume rocker are all on the right side, while on the left is the SIM tray with up to 512GB of expandable storage on the memory slot, also a 2 nano SIM slots. Below is the dedicated button for Google Assistant, which we will talk about later. Up top is the headphone jack and the secondary microphone. On the bottom is the speaker grill, main microphone, and unfortunately the outdated micro USB 2.0 with just a 10-watt charging capability. Flipping to the front, we got a large display of 6.5-inch IPS LCD screen with 720p by 1600 pixels and a nearly outdated water drop notch housing a 5-megapixel selfie camera. The screen's ratio is in cinematic 20:9 ratio, but the bezels are a bit large, especially on its chin. Well, for my eyes, I really like the Nokia branding on its chin. There's always been that Nokia logo in front of all Nokia phones, a unique way of saying that it separates it from other smartphones. The quality of the display is pretty fine, and colors are accurate thanks to the IPS LCD panel. And you have an option to adjust the color temperature of the screen. Choose the warmer color if you want a more premium vibe. And the dark mode isn't that dark and not that reliable since it is an IPS LCD. But good thing it has an option to enable it. Watching videos isn't as sharp as the 1080p, but it is an acceptable quality for the price point. The audio quality though lacks in giving sound and has a distortion when playing at max volume, but it is enough to fill a small room. Heading to its dual camera on the rear, which has a 13-megapixel main camera and a 2-megapixel depth. Daylight shots are a bit underexposed and have deep blacks removing some details, but it can easily adjust in the viewfinder. It has a decent dynamic range, and by turning on HDR, the overall exposure will be enhanced. The good thing in the main cam is it captures nearly true-to-life colors. However, it may depend on the detection of the color temperature. It struggles to detect the right white balance, and it may result in washed-out color reproduction. Considering the price point, the overall images are fine and acceptable, but the detection of its white balance is what holds it back. And if it nails the white balance, the overall output will be great and sharp. Shooting at nighttime, again, white balance is a bit off sometimes, but if we get the right value, it has a pretty acceptable but softer nighttime shots. Moving on to the portrait mode, you can adjust the blur and add more style to it, like the different bokeh shapes. The images, however, outputs grained but sharp, and the edge detection is pretty decent with 93% accuracy. Switching to the 5-megapixel selfie shooter, the portrait mode doesn't have a beautification feature and it only appears in the normal photo mode. It also struggles to detect the right white balance of the scene, but if we have decent lighting and a controlled environment, it will output nice good-looking skin tone. The sharpness is fine considering we only have 5-megapixel, and the subject to background separation looks like it's feathered to make smooth edges. On video recording, the max resolution is 1080p at 30fps. It is the standard social media posting, so it's acceptable, but I wish they could at least bump it up to 60 frames for better flexibility. The stabilization features aren't noticeable, and it just makes the viewing angle narrower and softer, so it is not so helpful. On the selfie, the highlights are blown away, but it has an acceptable quality in the right amount of lightings, but it isn't that impressive. Overall, I like that they have this pretty nice customizable watermark, and it makes the photo more stylish looking. It lacks Pro Mode feature though, so you may stick around with the normal and just point and shoot. Now heading to its performance, Nokia 2.4 is equipped with MediaTek Helio P22, an octa-core processor with 12nm build, and the configuration on our unit is 3GB of RAM and 64GB of internal storage. While the benchmark score isn't that surprising, it is in the Android 10.0, with the stock Android OS that is definitely a lightweight OS. Nokia promises to give 2 years of Android upgrade, and yes, it can be upgraded to Android 11 soon, so we have a lot of future-proof optimization and security right there. Talking about the process, Nokia 2.4 can do basic multitasking thanks to the 3GB of RAM. However, there's some stuttering when navigating through online apps as it loads some parts from the internet. But basic social media browsing like Facebook or Instagram works well and pretty impressive. Even Zoom meetings and other video conference app does not make the phone lag. Playing casual games on this phone is fine. We have no problem playing RTS games like Mobile Legends, but for playing games with high-end graphics, it will introduce stutter, but it still has the power to perform the task, so it is still acceptable. The best about the Nokia 2.4 is the dedicated Google Assistant button, which is a reliable tool to talk to Google Assistant, and it gives less hassle user experience. Google Assistant is one of the best assistant for your phone, and by just pressing a button, you can speak to Google Assistant and it will do almost anything for you. For the biometrics, we have a fingerprint scanner and face unlock. Fingerprint scanner is fine. It is not the fastest unlocking experience I've tried, but most of the time it doesn't fail to recognize my prints and I'm pretty sure it is working. You can also do a simple swipe on the fingerprint scanner to view the notification, which is a pretty good addition to the user experience. Face unlock, however, struggles on low light, but in decent lighting, it is reliable even with a fairly slow recognition. Overall, the user experience for me is great, and by holding it with just one hand, I can just constantly check and navigate things inside the phone with ease and comfort. For the battery, Nokia 2.4 is back with 4500 mAh battery. The battery performance is good considering we have Google Apps and Assistant running in the background that may drain our battery, but it still endured a long screen time. Now by charging it using the free charging brick in the box that only has 5 watts, which is a bit of a disappointment, we get a slower charging time. So we also tried other charging brick with 10 watt capability to see the potential, and we got a faster charging compared to the 5 watts. Overall, for the price of 6,990 pesos, there's a lot of smartphones within the price range that offers more reliable specs, but Nokia 2.4 isn't just a typical device. It is a trusted brand that offers 2 years of Android upgrade, a solid and sturdy build with easy navigation and clean UI, and for us, if you want to have a budget smartphone, this phone's durability will give you peace of mind and will definitely last longer. Just don't drop it from the second floor. And that's our review on the Nokia 2.4. What do you guys think? Is it worth it? Let us know in the comment section below. That's it. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified on our future contents. And also don't forget to visit manilashaker.com for more tech news reviews and comparison of the latest device. Again, this is Shadel and mabuhay, Manila!